All right, question.
Danny was talking about how he spent time with you this week, talking about what to expect, and obviously the advantage he's had of playing against your defense all preseason. How much do you think that's going to help the offense going into this game?
I think it's going to help them is the fact that we've practiced against each other about 50 times in the last year. I think I was trying to explain that to our guys on defense today, that what the San Diego State offense is going to see, they see every day, and they've seen it for the last 10 years. So it's going to be a little different than what we've had the last 2 weeks, because the guys that we played the last 2 weeks, they haven't seen it before, never seen it. So it's when you don't prepare for something, when you prepare for something that you haven't seen, it's pretty hard, and especially when you have 3 days. Now, Texas San Antonio had all summer long. They studied San Diego State film because that's where it came from, and the timing of everything and the actual, it's similar to a triple option look. I mean, the triple option, it's hard to prepare for in 3 days because the timing and the way that people move and what we do is very untraditional. We get in a lot of traditional defenses, we just do it with different people, and so it's hard to prepare for. So I think both offenses will have a little bit of an advantage because they've practiced against it every day. They've done it for 10 years. We've done it for 50 practices so far. So I think it'll help a little bit.
What do you remember about the interview process with you? It was late at night, and you had a flight really early the next morning, right?
Yep.
So just kind of walk us through kind of the whole scenario.
You know, it was that was a hard deal because I didn't want it to be a distraction to our football team at San Diego State. We had it was a Sunday. We had practice that day. We were practicing on Monday too because we were leaving to Fort Worth on Tuesday. They flew. We had practice that afternoon. I think practice ended about 7. Watched practice as a staff, and then I got on a plane about 9:30, and got here at 10. Met with Coach Edwards. It was, and I mean, the awkward part about that deal was I told Coach Edwards, and he was very understanding. I said, you know, Coach, I don't feel really comfortable talking about our scheme because if I don't get this job, we play each other next year. I don't think it's fair to my team that I'm currently with. And he was fine. He was great with that. So we talked a lot of philosophy. We talked just base defense, and we put some tape on, and we watched guys, and we talked through some situations and scenarios, and that went on for about 4 hours. And it was the first time that I had ever met Coach Edwards, and it was an unbelievable experience. He is as genuine a person as they come. What you see up here every day, what you see, I mean, he never changes. What you saw on ESPN for the last 9 years never changes. His commercial, when he's the little Bud Light guy, I mean, never changes. It's awesome. It's who he is all the time. It's been just great to be around him, and that 4 hours I was able to find out. I mean, it was easy to see that it would be somewhere that I would like to be.
So in a game like this week, you just really just do whatever you did that brought you here, or do you feel like you have to put some wrinkles in this because of that?
No. See, the hard thing about this week, I mean, I wish we didn't have to play this game because I recruited most of those kids. All those kids on defense, other than the true freshmen I coached at some point. So I know them all, and I love all those kids dearly. I mean, they're a bunch of really good kids, and the belief system that they have around there. I mean, we thought we were as good as anybody in the country, and so I know how those kids work. I know how they believe. I know how they feel. One of the things that I've been taught through my 20 years of doing this is when you get emotional, you make bad decisions, and trying to do something spectacular and special and give them something new that usually doesn't work. Because I mean, it was funny on Sunday. I sat in there and between Sunday and Monday and came up with all these elaborate schemes and fancy things, and I went in there to Coach White, and the first thing I tried to explain, he was confused. So if he can't get it, there ain't no chance the kids are going to get it. So I turned around, left his office, and went back and started. And I mean, I was probably here till, I don't even know what time it was when I left on Monday, just trying to make sure that we're not confused. We give them something. I mean, you can never take on a running team the same way 2 weeks in a row or 2 years in a row. So the game plan that we had against Michigan State, which is a very similar offense to San Diego State, we can't use because they'll practice all week. Now, I know Coach Horton's really smart, and he's not going to waste his time on what we did against Michigan State because he knows how Coach Long has raised me in this deal, and so we'll come up with something to try and give them some fits. But it's going to be a game that's going to be won at the line of scrimmage. Their O-line is as physical as anybody in the country. And I tried to explain to our guys today, you know, that they're going to try and hit you in the mouth, and they're going to try and kill you. I mean, it's not going to be, mush you out of the way and move and try. They're going to try and kill you. So they've been seeing it for the last 10 years. You better get ready to go on Saturday.
Is it bittersweet going back to San Diego?
No, I wish we didn't have to play this game. I wish we played somebody else because no matter how that game outcomes, I mean, if we beat them, which is the goal, and that's the only outcome I'd want. I mean, I'd feel a little bad for those kids. I won't feel so bad. I mean, I want to win, just like they ain't gonna feel bad for me if we lose. Nobody in this world feels sorry for you. So, bittersweet in the fact that I hope we win and we move on. And what I will like the most after this game is over. I haven't talked to Coach Long very much because I just don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right to compare notes when we're getting ready to play each other. And after this game's over, I can call him every week like I did before. So that's what I'm most excited about.
Coach said he didn't really enjoy playing games against Tony Dungy. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Very much so. I mean, he's taught me everything I know about this game. I was very fortunate. I've had two wonderful mentors. I mean, between Coach Long and Bronco Mendenhall. I was a GA for Bronco Mendenhall. I played for him my senior year. And then I've been with Coach Long for, we were on the same staff together for 17 years. I mean, for the last 20 years of my life I've been around him. And in my opinion, he's got the greatest defensive mind in college football. I mean, he stays ahead of the game. Offensive coaches are smart. I mean, we've gone into all this spread, they count numbers, and they make it real easy for their kids. Well, the game is getting soft, so you can't intimidate guys coming across the middle anymore. You can't knock them out. They call targeting. And if you hit somebody too hard, you don't even have to target them. If you hit them too hard, it's a penalty. So they have a whole bunch of advantages. So I think he's been unbelievable in coming up with ways to try and give the defensive guys just a chance to slow them down.
I don't know if this is necessarily relevant, but what do you remember from your perspective about Rashad Penny return, just being here?
Oh, I thought, that Bobby Houck, who's the head coach at Montana now, he is a great special teams coach. And I think we're very fortunate here. I think Sean Slocum does an equal job. I think he's phenomenal. And that kickoff return, that one in particular, that might have been the greatest blocked up play I've ever seen in my 20 years. I mean, there was not a guy that laid a hand on Rashad Penny that night. So they'll be sound. Doug Deacon, who's their special teams coordinator, who worked under Bobby, who's been at San Diego State, was a player there. He'll do an incredible job, and they'll be ready. So our special team guys better put their hats on and be ready to go.
Talking special teams along with defense at the same time. Jordan Boyd, watching him progress as defensive scout player of the year to earning a scholarship. What's it like to see him be a leader on and off? The question, Jordan Hoyt. I think Jordan Hoyt has done a phenomenal job for our program from the day I got here. His work ethic, is unmatched. I mean, he works his tail off every day, whether it's in the weight room, whether it's on the field, whether it's in the classroom. I mean, he knows what to do. He doesn't make many mistakes. He may not be the greatest athlete, but his determination, his desire makes up for athletic ability. And it's no different than a guy that makes a mistake on an assignment. If he's playing hard, sometimes he can make up for it by the effort that they play with. He's earned himself into playing. He's earned himself into a scholarship. He wasn't given anything. He earned everything he has. He leads our Bible study with our student athletes. I mean, a phenomenal young man. He's the kind of young man you would want your daughter to marry. And kind of a follow-up, he picked up a fumble against UTSA. What was it like to see him finally have some success in a real game?
Awesome. I mean, those guys, they work all year for the 12 guaranteed opportunities, and for him to have a moment where he gets a little acknowledgement, I mean, it was awesome. And his teammates enjoyed it. You can see it too.
So obviously San Diego State's going to have the backup quarterback with Ryan Agnew, but how familiar are you with him? How different is he from Chapman?
Very. I think, Ryan Agnew's been the backup there for 3 years. He's played in a few games. He threw more passes on Saturday night than he had in his first 3 games combined. He was 11-17, and he did a really nice job. I mean, one of the interceptions, Kahale Waring should have caught the ball. Would have been about a 25-yard gain, put him down in scoring position. The other one, I think a safety made a great play. He runs across the entire field, reads the quarterback, and he goes up and gets it. So Ryan is a very athletic kid. He's a very confident young man. He played at South Lake Carroll High School in Texas. He's fast. He gives them a different dimension with the quarterback running plays. I'm sure Coach Horton and them will see a little bit more zone read than what they've seen, I would guess. We'll see some quarterback draws that we haven't seen because he's very athletic and they have confidence in him. I know Coach Horton has a lot of confidence in the young man, and he recruited him out of South Lake Carroll, so they've had a good relationship, and they'll give him a great game plan to be successful.
You mentioned Tony. How helpful is it to have him here for this game in particular?
Tony White?
Tony White, yeah. Last year.
I am more, what's the right word? I couldn't be more thankful that Tony White's here. He has made this transition really, really easy for me. Every opportunity I had, he was the first one I went to. I mean, when I told Coach Long that I was going to take this job, I told him that the one guy I'm going to ask to come with me is Coach White. Been together for the last 10 years in this business. One of my best friends. Our kids play together. Our wives get along really, really well. So he's been someone who's been really close to me, and I think he's one of the greatest coaches there is in the press box on game day. He's my eyes up there. He tells me everything that's going on. He can get me the personnel of who's in the game. It's unbelievable how fast and how well he's able to sort those things out. We are very, very fortunate, and on top of that, I think he's one of the greatest recruiters in college football. So I think we are very fortunate, and I'm super excited that he's here with me.
What are some of the similarities between Michigan State and San Diego State?
They're very physical. Both of them, I mean, they have the exact same game plan as they want to pound the ball at you. They want to shorten the game. They want to put their quarterback in position to make plays, and the play action game is strong. Where we had success on Saturday night was they had a really hard time blocking Rennell Wren. I hope the guys at San Diego State have the same problem. When your nose guard gets penetration in the backfield, it causes a lot of problems for those guys. And Michigan State's answer was to abandon their run game and run outside. I hope we're fortunate enough to do that to San Diego State. The difference between San Diego State and Michigan State, the linemen at San Diego State, they fire off the ball and they come downhill. And Michigan State was not used to our movement, so they were a little bit slower. San Diego State won't be slow because they're used to the movement. So it's a big challenge.
Gary Slade already has 2.5 sacks this season. How impressed have you been with him this year?
I think it goes back to the spring. I really give the young man a lot of credit because when we got here, the stuff we were asking him to do, he didn't necessarily like. Darius Slade has a very, very special skill set of rushing the passer. I mean, there's not very many tackles that can block him. Within our scheme, he's not always going to be a wide nine and be a pass rusher. He's got to do things. He's got to pinch inside. He's got to take on some double teams. He's got to block, react, cross face. And he didn't like it very much when we first got here because it wasn't his special suit. We had a really good conversation one afternoon. I told him I'm a stubborn old man and I won't change. So if you want to play here and be successful, then you're going to have to change your ways. And he did. He put on almost 30 pounds. He came back. He worked as hard as anybody in the summer. He came back. He looked the part. When he takes on double teams now, it's different. I mean, it's not as hard as it was for him. So he's done a great job of giving himself an opportunity to be successful, and now it's paying off. And then we can put him in situations. I mean, the one sack fumble that he had against UTSA, if they want to block a D lineman with a running back, that's what should happen. I mean, he picked that guy up and he threw him in the quarterback's lap, and the quarterback fumbles the ball, and then he scoops it up and scores, and he looks at me and said, "I told you." I'm like, "Well, thank you. I'm glad you did. And we will put you in more opportunities to do that." So I'm proud of the young man for where he's at.
What about Merlin Robertson? He seems to have picked things up pretty quickly for you guys on defense.
Unbelievable for what he's done as a true freshman. Marlon Robertson is playing way ahead of his years. To be a 17, 18-year-old kid, young man that's going up against guys that are 22 and 23 years old that are physically more developed. The knowledge and the time that he's put in the classroom has been unreal. I mean, he's out there telling those guys, I mean, he can get all 11 guys lined up. He's telling the secondary what coverage we're in. It's awesome. And I'm super excited. The way he played in the fourth quarter on Saturday, I mean, he had 5 tackles, 1.5 sacks. I couldn't say enough about him. I'm glad he's a Sun Devil.
What do you think makes it so easy for him to pick things up so quickly?
there's certain kids that are really good football players that have a natural feel for the game. There's some kids that have no feel. He's one of those that's just a natural, and then he puts in effort. I mean, Coach Pierce has done a great job with the linebackers, and he puts in a lot of extra effort to make sure that he knows what to do, and he's proven why he was recruited so highly.
How have you prepared to contain such an elusive running back like Juwan Washington?
We got to be great tacklers. Juwan is a very special back. I mean, he's almost 200 pounds. He's 5'7". What a great young man. Teammates love him. He makes everybody laugh. He will run you over. He'll make you miss in the hole. He's got great speed. I mean, there's a great kickoff returner. There's a great punt returner. They're smart. They put the ball in his hands every way they can. They'll throw him out. They'll put him out wide receiver and throw him a pass in space. They'll run a slip screen to him. They'll give him a running back draw. And they'll run power. And for a guy that's 5'7" to run power the way he does, I mean, it is straight downhill in the A gap, and then he'll make you miss 3 yards past the line of scrimmage. So we got a huge challenge. We got to tackle well, and we got to tackle with 3, 4, and 5 guys just to have a chance to contain him. I mean, he's rushed for 181 yards and 158 in 2 games. He's third leading rusher in the country. That's not uncommon for them. I mean, they've had the leading rusher in the country the last 2 years. So we got a big challenge ahead.
Time for 2 more questions.
With Daz's injury, can you just talk about how the Tillman shapes up this week, or the way Jalen played?
Jalen played great after Daz went out. Evan was okay to play on Saturday night if we needed him. I felt that Jalen was really good in the rotation. He had a feel for what they were doing on offense, so we went with Jalen. Evan could have played. He'll play this week. I like the rotation aspect of it, and he's healthy. He's fine. He's had a good week of practice so far in the first 2 days. He practiced pretty good last week, and like I said, he could have played. So we'll be okay with those two there manning that position. Then hopefully next week we'll get Daz back, depending on his elbow's pretty swollen. He dislocated it, but they've got him in a big brace, and he's one of the tougher young men I've been around. So we'll see him back in a couple weeks, and we'll go with the same plan forward with all 3 of those guys playing it.
Coach, the first 2 weeks, you guys have one of the best rushing defenses in college football. What's been the most impressive thing from the coach's standpoint?
The most impressive thing that these guys have done that I am glad they bought in is they're playing hard. There's where we're gang tackling. You're not getting a lot of yards after contact on misses. You've got 11 guys that are trying everything they can to get to the football. Usually that's the hardest thing to sell and the hardest thing to get implemented. We've run more around here than I think they ever thought possible, and we'll continue to do that. I think it creates good habits, and it's made up for a lot of assignment mistakes that we've made. We're still making too many. We've made some progress towards cleaning those up this week. So if they continue to play hard, good things will happen. I think that's been part of the reason. Now, the fact that we've been able to get good penetration with our D-line, Renell Wren is I mean, I said a long time ago, I think he can be the best nose guard in the country. And through the first 2 weeks, he's made me look pretty good. He's a good player. We have good players. We have a bunch of really good athletes that are playing with at a high level. They're playing with energy. But we still, and I tell them this every day, we still have a long way to go before we consider ourselves good. Those stats, those are 2 weeks. Number 1 in the country, we've only played 2 games. So really, go a whole season and see where we stack up. And they believe in what we're doing, and they're playing hard, but we're not very good yet. I mean, we still have a long way to go to reach the standard we want to reach. And there's a fine line between being arrogant and being confident. And I don't want them to get arrogant because we haven't done anything special yet. We've got a bunch of good players that are playing hard, and if they continue to progress at the way we're progressing, we'll be pretty good. But all those nice things that you guys keep writing about them, it sure is making my job a lot harder. So I wouldn't mind if every once in a while you write a reality. I mean, tell them they're not very good in the paper too. It ain't going to hurt my feelings.
Giving up 2 touchdowns.
We have good players. And I tell them all the time, this has nothing to do, there's nothing magical about what we do. If you've got good players, you're a good coach. Make them play hard, and you have a chance.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, guys.
guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.